Hi everyone, we're going to be reading Del Toro Moon by Darby Carshut, and we are reading chapter 13. Sorry if there's any background noise. We're in a hotel room because we went up to the mountains for the weekend and all my family's here. Slow down, both of you. Standing on the porch, my father tugged on one boot, then the other. Start at the beginning. In a jumble, Elsa and I filled them in. Dad's face tightened with every word. Nearby, Turk and Izzy listened in, ears swiveling and tails lashing their hindquarters. As I finished, Ben appeared with a truck key in his hands. He handed them to our father without a word. Just as silently, Dad took them. Between rounds, I guess. Everyone stay here. I will return shortly. Dad reached inside the door and snagged his hat from the hook, then pulled it low over his eyes. Perhaps I can catch up with Perry's mother and get more details. What's her name? I didn't ask. I slipped off Elsid. Can I come too? I shot a glance at Ben. He leaned his shoulder against the porch post, his face sullen. I knew that I'd be riding shotgun in the cab. Well, I'm certainly coming with you, Javier, Elsid said. It's easy enough to follow you along the road. I better come as well, Turk said. Check out what's going on. Ben sneered. Yeah, like that's not going to look weird or anything. A guy driving a truck with a pair of horses trotting behind. Make that a trio. Izzy shook her forelock out of her eyes. I'm sick of being left out of everything around here. Dad blew out a long breath. Change of plan. Matt, you and I will saddle up and ride out with Elsid and Turk. Izzy, you may come along as well. I caught my brother's attention. Ben? Pass. Oh, come on, Ben. The sorrel stretched out her neck and nosed my brother. Don't be a poopster. Join the parade. Nah, I'm good. You and Javier can be mad at each other some other time. She caught the hem of his t-shirt and began in between her teeth and tugged to my surprise and tugged. To my surprise, Ben barked a short laugh. All right, I'm coming already. He pulled free. Sheesh, hold your horses. The entire family groaned. 10 minutes later, we were jogging east, riding side by side in a mismatched cavalry line. For a while, the only sound was the jingle of the buckles of the horses, halters, and the clomp of hoof on earth. There, I pointed along the road. A white SUV rumbled toward us, a plume of dust billowing behind it. Perry's mother? Dad asked. No, she drove a station wagon. We stopped and waited on the shoulder. My eyes kept drifting northward, toward the towering cliffs. The gate was a black mouth open in a silent scream. Did someone move in its shadow? The hairs on my arms lifted. Stop freaking yourself out, I ordered. I don't understand. Elsid locked his ears on the approaching car. Did the driver not see the private road, dead end, no turnarounds allowed sign? Maybe they can't read, Izzy said. Maybe they don't care. Turk growled. The SUV reminded me of the vehicles they used on safaris in Africa. Big and boxy, with large plastic crates and bulging duffel bags. Strapped to the lowest rack, it slowed. The dust caught up with it, then wafted toward us. I narrowed my eyes as the fine grit settled on my face. Izzy sneezed. The driver lifted his hand in greeting as the vehicle rolled to a stop next to us. It had out of state plates, but I couldn't tell which one. It wasn't Colorado or New Mexico. Holding on to the saddle horn, I leaned to one side. The words "The Field Museum of Natural History, Chicago" and an image of a Greek-like temple decorated the vehicle store. Motor idling, the man powered down his window and stuck his head out. His scalp gleamed through white hair cut short, enough to make a Marine proud. Hello there. Oh, I mean, buenos tardes. Buenos tardes, he added, getting both the pronunciation and time of day wrong. Ben and I winced. Good morning. Dad nodded once. Can I help you? I hope so. I'm looking for the old cutoff that used to connect this road with the El Laberinto Wilderness Area trailhead. I think I've come too far west, or perhaps it's so overgrown I've missed it. You have, forgive me, but this is private property, so you will need to go back to Huffrano and actually, it isn't private, I mean. The man's smile was polite, but just barely. I've checked and double checked with both the county and the state. Well, this section of the road is privately owned by Francis J. Del Toro. All this land, he gestured from the hump of the maze, is public domain. which means it belongs to the good folks of Colorado. Sunlight bounced off the man's horn-rimmed glasses, the lens thicker than the bottom of a drinking glass. His gaze took in my father's faded shirt and dusty boots. Speaking of Mr. Del Toro, I was told his ranch is at the end of this road. I need to speak with him as soon as possible. Do you work for him by any chance? Dad narrowed his eyes, Ben coughed, then bent over, pretending to adjust his stirrup while I bit my lip, fighting my own grin. Turk snorted in anger and stomped. Eyeing the black stallion, the man shrank back in a seat. I am Francis Javier Del Toro. My apologies. I thought, well, it doesn't matter. The man turned off the engine, then eased out of the truck, careful to keep the door open between his lanky frame and Turk. He adjusted his glasses and peered up at my father. Dr. Philip Albury, the Field Museum, Chicago. He paused, then added, That's in Illinois. A muscle twitched in Dad's cheek. What do you wish to speak with me about so urgently? I noticed Albury didn't often shake Dad's hands. Actually, more of the courtesy call before the bulldozers arrive. It's scheduled to be here by the first of next week. That gives us just 3 days to decide. To decide what? Why, where to put the access road to the site. The mayor suggested that we might be able to use the old abandoned one and just have the bulldozer clean it up. He nodded back down the road toward Hufrano. That would make the shortest route to our camp, as well as easy access to town for supplies, and hopefully not to bother you too much. His eyes flickered over Ben and me. Are these your sons? They are. Well, you and your family are welcome to stop by and see what we've unearthed. I know how children love dinosaurs. Albury beamed at Ben and me. We looked at each other in disbelief. Dad pushed his hat back on his head. A cease appeared between his brow. Then, it is true? There will be a dig in the maze all summer. I'm planning on being up and running within the next week or so. That's when the last of my crew gets here, hopefully. Organizing paleontologists and other specialists scattered around the world is like herding cats. Dr. Albury, Dad interrupted him. I don't know how much you've heard about the maze, but I must warn you, it is a dangerous place. A number of deaths have occurred over there over the years. He stopped at a low hum of the engine. Shading my eyes with my hand, I stood in the stirrups. A station wagon, the green one that belonged to Perry's mom, drove toward us. A tiny part of my brain wondered if Perry was with her. Then I wondered why I even cared. The second car slowed and parked behind Albury's. A woman wearing jeans and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up stepped out. Her blonde hair was pulled at the nape of her neck. Shaking her head in disbelief, she stared at my father. A growing smile curled the corners of her mouth. Perry clambered out from the passenger side. Her gaze darted from my brother and father's to the horses, then to me. Making a face, she pointed at the woman. My mom, she mouthed. Well, well. The woman strolled nearer. Her blue eyes crinkled at the corner. If it isn't Javier del Toro, bet you don't remember me. Dios mío. Mio? Sorry. Dad breathed. To my amazement, he swung out of his saddle. Liz Vandimer? Removing his hat, he clasped her hand. You have not changed a bit. Flattered, she laughed. It's been a long time. Since senior year in high school. Right before, actually. That's when my family moved to San Diego. That's in California, Ben said in a low voice. I choked back a laugh. And these two have got to be yours. Talk about peas in a pod. She looked at Ben and me. You must be Matt. Perry said she ran into a boy riding a gray horse. Considering a horse was involved, I'm stunned she remembered your name. Yeah, yes, ma'am. I pretended not to notice Perry cringing in mortification. Dad pointed his chin toward my brother, and Ben is my oldest. The woman waved Perry over. Perry is my one and only pride and joy. She started to sweep the girl's bangs from her eyes. You're killing me here, Mom. She dodged away with a practice move. Her mom just laughed. Elsa shifted at the moment Roman's words returned. Our war brothers come first. The fact that we ride upon them does not mean they are beneath us. And this is El Cid, I blurted out. The sorrel is Izzy, and Turk's the black one. As soon as I said those words, my whole head burst into flames. Who, in the normal world, introduced their horses to stranger? A dweeb? That's who. But dweeb or not, I wasn't going to sit there and pretend half my family didn't exist. For a split second, I saw just how wide a gulf there was between my family and others. Not good or bad, just different. Like a totally different solar system different. I felt better when Perry threw a thumbs up behind her mother, who gave me a warm nod. I ignored Ben's snort. You do know each other? Albury edged closer to the other scientist. His eyes widened behind the lenses. Oh, that's right. You grew up here, didn't you, Liz? She pointed toward the maze. I used to hunt for fossils at the foot of those cliffs when I was Perry's age. Whenever I could dodge Javier and his family, they'd chase me off, telling me it was too dangerous and that something bad would happen to me if I didn't stay away. El Labyrinto is no place for a little girl, his father used to say. Go home where it is safe. She smiled at Dad. Even back then, you guys were a tad overly vigilant about the place. We were trying to keep you safe. I know, but there's no need to worry about me now. I'm back with the crew in the support of the Field Museum. Not to mention some extra funding from Humferano's council, thanks to your mayor. Liz, you and the other scientists must not go in there. People have disappeared or died in record numbers. See, Philip, what did I tell you? She sighed. Really, Javier, we're not kids anymore. Enough with the whole there's a boogeyman in the maze thing already. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted Perry edging over to me. Remembering what Dad did earlier, I swung out of the saddle. For a split second, I wish I wore a cowboy hat just so I could take it off. What are they talking about? Standing on tiptoe, she craned her neck, looking northward. About the maze being dangerous. Before I could answer, Dad spoke again. I will not allow any road to be built across my land. Oh, Javier, Dr. Vandermeer began. Excuse me? Albert held up a finger. Not to belabor the point, but the new road will be across public land. So you see, my good man, you really have no say in this matter. And that is the end of chapter 13. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm adding that now to my list of things that you have to do. You have to turn on notifications now. If you have any questions or comments, just put them in the comments. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.